What's going on, guys? Today I have an absolutely awesome update for the 56 Chevy, and basically I had to cut the entire floor pan out, and that means floor pan, trunk pan, everything. There was literally nothing under this. It was just a shell. Even all of the floor, like the floor pan bracing, was all gone. All the body mounts, that kind of stuff, all gone, all cut out. It's a pretty eventful process, but finally the new floor pan is in, and kind of as we go through this process, I'm going to show you kind of like where we started at, what we had to do, and how the new floor pan is in there now. All right, so first of all, the biggest thing is to weld some kind of structure in here. That way there's not a bunch of flexing going on. So basically I just had a door bar going across, and then there was a door bar right here too, but as you can see, I've already cut that out. But essentially there was another bar over here, and then a bar that ran across. So you're kind of like preventing any kind of like flexion going forward or sideways. So and you can, brace the crap out of this however you want, but really you don't have to go crazy. It just has to be enough, because I mean, there's still a lot of sheet metal in the car. We left this cowl panel up here. This whole thing is completely untouched. So really it depends on whatever kind of condition your car's in. You might even be able to get, away with doing a partial, but if you're doing a full floor pan, you definitely need to make some kind of bracing inside. I had to cut the inner structure back here that's kind of like behind the rear seat. I had to take all that out because there's like an overlapping piece where the trunk pan meets the floor pan, and then there's like a third piece of sheet metal that goes over top of it, and all of it gets pinch welded. That's why that right there looks like Swiss cheese right now. But again, that'll all get welded up. I left this outer rocker still attached to kind of give me some structure. I know it's not very much structure because you see giant holes in it, but really when you're cutting the floor out, anything is better than nothing. So basically, now that the floor pan is in, I'm going to cut through here and take the whole outer rocker on, and then I'll worry about that now, because everything else, this whole seam up here is already welded. All the way down the sides over here is all welded. You can get a floor pan without all the bracing and stuff already welded to it, but honestly it saved so much time, and the cost difference was just like, it was just a no-brainer. So ended up getting the whole assembly, and I'm gonna raise the car up actually so we can take a look. I just want to show you guys the floor pan because it's very accurate. It's got all the factory stampings in it. It's a really good floor pan. All right, guys, so we're under the car now, and as you can see, I've gotten some new hardware put in there. It's not all the way tightened down yet. It's just to kind of make sure everything's in place, and put new body mounts on there. So you've got threaded holes all over this thing for the seats, for, of course, some of the mounts. And then just, again, the fact that all of the under structure is all already welded on there. It's just a no-brainer. All right, so basically when we cut the old floor pan out, we just took it all the way up to the front section up here. And I still have to put some mounts in this side. They sent me their own ones, but. All right, so essentially I cut the floor pan all the way up to this pinch weld point, and I left the flange there. That way, when I laid the new floor pan in, all I had to do was just pinch the two layers of steel together, and then you just weld it all back together just the same way that the factory would have. So basically, since you're using this entire assembly, you can see your threaded holes for your seat mounts. I mean, this thing is just set up, but again, cut it out all the way until all the factory welding points, and then so like all the way to this lip. Obviously we're cutting both these rockers out, but basically this is like almost an exact replica of what the factory floor pan would have been. So you can just look and see where you need to grind to and like how much metal you need to take out. So it was really just a tedious task of taking it out without messing anything up. And again, the bracing is like super important on this one. Another real big thing here is that you have to figure out a way to lift the car up off of the frame. So of course there's numerous ways of doing that, and there's like fancy ways of doing it, but if you have somewhat limited equipment, because I have such a small building in here, then there's not really a whole lot of options that you can use. The best way that I found to do this was just take my engine hoist that I normally pull engines with, and I set it up, and I essentially like came in from the side here. I ran a strap straight through here, straight through your front body mounts, and just came straight up, connected the two, and then raised up on the car from the front. And it was super, super easy like that. So I had to raise up on it quite a bit, but because I had the engine hoist, I could just come off from the side and lower the floor pan in from the front and not have to worry about, any kind of like interference issues with getting the thing in. So with all the inner bracing cut out and everything, let's see if this door will close as it should. Yes, it's perfect. So this is a perfect door gap all the way down through there. It's going to look really nice whenever it's done. So obviously if you're going to be tackling this on your own, which is a very doable, I mean, I did this with my wife and you know, she helped me lower the thing down in there. And I had no issues whatsoever. So it's really just a matter of like paying attention to detail. But if you have a 56 Chevy with the floors rotted out really bad, follow those exact same steps and just make sure you're like taking your time to, you know, get all the old metal out of there, get all the bad stuff out. Take a look at what you need, and you know, because we're getting outer rocker panels, we need them. Obviously, you're going to need a welder, so I use an Eastwood 135. I'm not getting paid to say this. I literally like went out and bought it as like what I thought would be an entry-level welder that I could start welding with. And now this entry-level welder has taken me through all these different projects, and it's still doing just as good as when I bought it on day one. All right, so I know compared to normal, I didn't have as much, you know, video of the actual work that I was doing on it, but this was a very, very involved process, and I was trying to keep the turnaround time pretty good. So, however, with that being said, if you are wanting to tackle this same kind of job or something similar, then, you know, reach out to me if you have any questions, because again, you know, one-man shop here. I always use the term we when I'm talking to the camera. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm talking to you guys. So that's why I say we. But yeah, definitely a one-man shop if you are new to the channel. So, all right guys, so I still got to do the trunk pan and the back body mounts that go like kind of underneath that tail piece. So all that has collapsed over the years. So I've got to build all that stuff back up, cut it all out, and those panels will be on their way. All that'll be in a very near video. But for the time being, that's going to be it for this one. Again, if you have any questions on this kind of stuff, please reach out to me, because seriously, like, it seems super intimidating. And it is. I mean, it's like, who wants to cut the whole bottom of the floor out if you haven't done that before? You know what I'm saying? So regardless of, you know, where you're at, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll leave my Facebook link down in the description as well. Just seriously, message me, comment on one of my posts, whatever you want to do. I'll help you as much as I can. If you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed, because again, we are building an LS swap 56 Chevy. So it's going to be a pretty sweet ride, really nice fuel injection kit. So it's going to be a really, really sweet car. But anyways, catch you guys in the next video.